out against this situation at St. Vincent Charity Hospital to help those who are losing their jobs and help those who need services with health care. This is a grand opportunity for those of you who say, I need an opportunity to be an entrepreneur. I need an opportunity to get my business started. So here's a great opportunity. Bibb's Business Opportunity Mall grand opening. A grand opening with a company called Snap Delivery. Snap Delivery has an opportunity for employee retention tax credit program. It has ERC refund, $1.9 trillion available. Did I say $1.9 trillion? Yes, $1.9 trillion available. And who is eligible for to receive this money? I'm going to tell you who's eligible to receive up to $26,000 per employee. If you have a business in the United States, and if you are a nonprofit organization, you qualify for the federal tax refund check. You have a great opportunity with Snap Delivery for free. Did I say free? Yes. You have a great opportunity to join this great program with Snap Delivery. All you need to do for more information is call Mr. Charles E. Bibb's office at 216-681-1469 or his mobile phone at 216-659-4619. And people, get ready. This is a grand opportunity. We have a great show for you today. We have some breaking news, hot information coming all the way from Cleveland, Ohio. I want to introduce to you the man himself, the legendary political guru, Mr. Charles E. Bibb, Sr. himself from Bibb's Record Shop. I want you to put your hands together, put your heart and mind together, and receive Mr. Charles E. Bibbs himself. Take it away, Mr. Bibbs.
Thank you. Reverend Ben Fair, you are on fire.
Yes, sir.
The more things come before this podcast, people get ready, the hotter you get.
Yes, sir.
You are ready. And I listen, audience, fasten your seatbelts tonight because we got some hot breaking news for you tonight coming from all parts of the state of Ohio and Cuyahoga County and greater Cleveland area. First coming up tonight, I want to introduce you to Ms. Vivian L. Sharp. Are you in the house?
I'm in the house, Mr. Charles E. Bibb Sr. I'm ready, right here, ready for you. Are you ready for me?
Yes, tell us about your awesome opportunity, please.
Okay. I am Minister Vivian Louise Sharp. Hello and welcome. Welcome to this announcement of our, quote, Discover Yourself streaming radio app. We have some members that are on. I'd like to tell you real quick about them. Reverend Dr. Larry L. Macon Sr. is the first pastor on Discover Yourself. He joined in April 2022, and he comes on at 12 noon daily, and especially on Wednesdays and other times. And then we have a lady, a wonderful lady, Dr. Adi Kumbu Borashada, is a newly joined personality to Discover Yourself. She is on at 5 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. And finally, our show host, Rashonda N. Burks. She's a show host, and her show is called Tea Talk at 6 p.m. every Wednesday. Now, finally, we have commercials, music, interviews, show hosts, and church services can be available. And the telephone number is 216-307-5100. Our email is sharpparagon@gmail.com. Again, 216-307-5100. That's it, Mr. Bibb. Discover yourself. Don't wait to be discovered. Discover yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vivian L. Sharp. Awesome job. We'll look forward to you next week. All right.
Okie doke.
Recording gospel soul pop star Miss Joanne Holly. Are you in the house?
I am in the house, Mr. Charles E. Bibb Sr.
We've been waiting for you since last week. Tell us what's going on with this cryptocurrency and all the other good things you're doing.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, Ohio and around the world. Welcome to People Get Ready with Mr. Charles E. Bibb Sr. I am Joanne Hollywood, your cryptocurrency queen. I have some extraordinary information to share. Get your pen and paper out now. I am excited for what the future has to offer. I was blessed to be invited to join a private group that helps you build your legacy with cryptocurrencies and trading with the cost of what a family dinner may cost. But your options are unbelievable. It's giving me the chance to build my legacy and help my family and friends do the same. I'm actually going to share how you can get the money you need now. If you want to receive an invitation to learn more about cryptocurrencies and trading, send me a text at 216-407-0008. That would be 216-407-0008. And put 2 C's, C as in Charles, C as in Charles, which stands for cryptocurrencies. I will send you the conference call number and times available. I am thrilled to be helping people take it to the next level. Don't miss this one. No excuses. If you want a lifestyle change, tell yourself, money can't get you into heaven. Money can't keep you out of hell. Money can't buy you happiness, and money can't buy you love. But what can broke buy you? So let's get rocking and rolling. Let's start celebrating now for a new future. Back to you, Mr. Charles E. Bibb Sr.
Thank you, Miss Joanne Holly, and I look forward to seeing you Saturday at Chandler Park, 17325 Euclid Avenue, second floor conference room, where you'll get a chance to see all our audience who come in this week to jump in on this awesome opportunity. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And speaking of awesome opportunities, Miss Candace Jones, highly promoted, newly promoted, just got a new certificate in the business of SNAP delivery, and one of the top persons in the Midwest. Miss Candace Jones, tell us what's going on with SNAP delivery, please.
Thank you, Mr. Bibb, and hello, listeners and viewers of the podcast. So I've spoken about SNAP Delivered for a little bit now. So this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday, SNAP Delivered will be having a Disruption University Part 2. Disruption University Part 1 was held in July in Texas. Disruption University Part 2 will take place this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Now, even though there was the hurricane that took effect in parts of Florida, this location where this event will be was not affected. The event will still be going on. So it's in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. There is a part of the event that will be going on Friday, and there was a contest that was going on that allowed some of the SNAP delivered resources and associates that they're going to be going on a yacht on Friday for a little entertainment and fun on a yacht. Saturday and Sunday will be the university part. So Saturday will start at 9 a.m. and probably go to about 4:30, and Sunday will probably start at 9 a.m. and go to 4:30. But guess what? You don't necessarily have to travel to Florida to be able to participate in this event. We will be live streaming from Cleveland, Ohio, here. So I'm not going to Florida, but I will be live streaming the event here in Cleveland at Chandler Park. The afternoon event on Saturday will be at Chandler Park, 17325 Euclid Avenue, Suite 2011, which is the second floor conference room. Please RSVP if you can make this, 216-570-4738. There's going to be some new things that will be announced as part of the conference, so you don't want to miss out. After the events for Saturday with the conference are over, we'll go into a SNAP delivered business briefing where we'll learn how to get started with SNAP for free. Yes, I said you can sign up with SNAP for free, and there are multiple different verticals like the entertainment, the SNAP financial that you have access to as well. So again, that will start at 5 o'clock after the Disruption University is over, and we'll get started with that. And as Miss Joanne Holly mentioned, she'll get into her cryptocurrency presentation after that as well. We'll also have some information from Go Love Life regarding what's coming up with Go Love Life for the month of October. So you don't want to miss Saturday's event, Saturday, October 8th. Please RSVP 216-570-4738 and let me know that you'll be there. We'll have refreshments available as well. So come on down.
Thank you, Miss Candace Jones. James Jerome Bell said he needed to know a little bit more about that free, how you get in SNAP delivery free, and you can make that $26,000 per employee. Would you repeat that again, please?
Okay, so you can sign up and be associated with SNAP Delivered for free. It's just a matter of registering with SNAP Delivered, and then you have access to all the verticals. That's the SNAP Entertainment, which is the VidGo streaming, the SNAP, which is coming, the prescription delivery, that's going to be coming, and that may be something that will be announced at the conference this weekend. And you also have access to the ERC program, Employee Retention Program, which is a program that can help businesses get up to $26,000 per employee. So you can sign up for SNAP Delivered for free, and you can make commissions off of all these different verticals. By helping a business get registered with the ERC program and the business goes through the process, you can earn a commission off of that process as well.
All right, thank you very kindly for repeating that for us. And you'll also be explaining that this coming Saturday at Chandler Park.
Yes.
And we'll be able to go to Florida without going down there, Reverend Ben Fair.
Yes, sir.
You'll be right in the middle of the conference, is that right?
That's
Ms.
right.
Candace?
That's right.
Okay, so that will start approximately about what time Saturday?
12:30 at Chandler Park on Saturday.
Thank you very kindly. All right. We had on our agenda Mr. Merrill Knight, but today I was told that the rally that they had, Reverend Fair, was postponed.
Oh.
They're in negotiation with St. Vincent, but we will still hear your portion of what. Tell us what's going on at St. Vincent from the St. Vincent side, and next week we'll hear from the Union side.
All right.
But give us all the information you can about St. Vincent, the hospital.
All right. So we know that St. Vincent Medical Center in Cleveland will be laying off 978 workers at the end of November. The hospital part of services of our Sisters of Charity Health System is ending inpatient care and most other services in November. After the transition, the facility will offer outpatient behavioral health, urgent care, and primary care. The health system attributes the changes to several factors. One, including the rise in demand for outpatient care. Two, the declining inpatient volume and shift in the healthcare industry over the last 10 years that have made it challenging to continue operating St. Vincent Charity Medical Center as an acute care hospital. The changes will result in 978 employees being laid off on November the 15th, according to the notice filed with the state regulators. This extremely difficult decision is being made with deep respect and gratitude for our caregivers, and we would regret the direct impact this decision will have on those individuals who read the layoff notice from the hospital. Unfortunately, COVID pandemic and the changing healthcare landscape and declining inpatient volumes has led to significant financial challenges that became impossible to overcome. The layoffs will affect 446 full-time workers, 264 part-time employees, and 268 workers who are called in to work as needed. A spokesman for Sisters of Charity Health Systems told Becker's Hospital Review, medical residents at St. Vincent Charity Medical Center have been invited to move to the Cleveland-based University hospitals. Sisters of Charity Health System is also hosting job fairs at the hospital with University Circle, University Hospitals, and other organizations. And the hospital will continue to provide employees assistance programs for support with personal and work-related issues, the spokesperson told Becker. So that is what's happening with St. Vincent. So far, we haven't heard any new news about any changes regarding the hospital closing on November the 15th.
Thank you. Very good report there, Reverend Vincent. You're right up to date with St. Vincent. And as I said earlier, the union will speak next week when they come back to the podcast. People get ready. But hospital care is still moving.
Yes, sir.
And it's moving fast and hard, and in particular in the African American community under the leadership of Dr. Charles S. Motlin. And Dr. Gwen Jarvis, would you bring us up to date on what's happening and what they're going to be doing to help us with our voices of the heart?
Yes, very happy to. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Bibb, for being on this podcast, and also for the other everyone else who's on the team. But what I like to share is the quote from Reverend Farr.
Yes.
And the quote is that there comes a time when one must make a position that is neither safe, politic, nor popular, but he must take it because his conscience tells him what is right. Yeah. This is the model that Dr. Charles Motlin is. He's just not a urologist, and he's over diversity and so forth at Metro Hospital, but it's his passion to see what he can do as far as exposing or sharing with the African American community and people of color, brown and black people, the health disparities that affects us all. On Tuesday, October 11th, he has teamed up through Pfizer, has teamed up with Dr. Carlos Ants out of Baltimore, Maryland, who is a cardiologist of 30 years of practice, and they're going to share with audience the heart failure condition, the rare heart failure condition that is affecting black and brown people, men and women. And I wouldn't even try to dare to say, to pronounce what it is. However, the initials are, if you want to look it up on the internet, is ATTR-CM. People think that they're having high blood pressure. Some of the symptoms is like high blood pressure. It's a heart failure condition, and it can take you out. Some of the symptoms are shortness of breath, bloating stomach, difficulty and confusion in breathing and thinking, and also a cough you might have where you think you got high blood pressure, but it's a real heart condition. So the invitation is extended to everyone. And Mr. Bibb, we have a flyer that was shared with us, and you have to register in order to be a part of this. It's going to be moderated by Dr. Motlin with Dr. Carlos Ants. And they're going to have a guest who has been living with this condition. He's going to be on there too to tell you his journey of going through ATTR-CM. So please look it up, do a little homework about it, and attend via Zoom. Being moderated by Dr. Charles Motlin and also Dr. Carlos Ants about this rare condition. And I'll repeat it. It is ATTR-CM. It's a heart failure condition. Mr. Bibb.
Dr. Jarvis, do we have the flyer, you or Miss Candace, about the event?
Yes, we have a flyer, and you have to register.
Give us the information on how you register, if we have it.
Actually, you need the flyer, according to Dr. Motlin in the conversation with him today. You have to have the flyer or either the scan code, the QR code, in order to register.
So if you don't have a flyer with the code, you can't register.
You can't register. But perhaps they can call one of us if they want to register.
Is there a number on the flyer to
No,
call?
there's no number. And this flyer was made by Pfizer, and there's no number, no phone number.
Okay. So, Dr. Gwen Jarvis, give us the number that we can reach you, because you'll be in touch with Dr. Charles Motlin to make sure that people who are listening and who want to call in,
Okay, all right.
give us your number that you want us to call.
Okay, my number is area code 216-374-5147. And I'll repeat, it's 216-374-5147. And you can also text me or email me at all small letters, one word, TNHoney, Dr. Gwen at gmail.com. That's TEAANDHONEY DRGWEN at gmail.com. And I will make sure that you can, that they can download the flyer and register.
Thank you. Very good job. And we had Dr. Charles Motlin on about 6 months ago. And when you talk to him, definitely check his calendar. We want to bring him back on the podcast
Okay,
live and answer some other questions,
okay.
medical questions. Thank you. All right. Ms. Candace Jones,
Yes, Mr. Bibb.
you have some information for us?
So we have a special guest on the line that is going to share some information for you about the Ohio Unity Black Voter Empowerment Campaign. Ms. Talley, are you on the line?
Tell us what
I am
you-
on the line. I'm on the line. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Ms. Talley.
Okay, Thank you
Hold
so
on a
much.
minute- Hold on a minute, Ms. Talley. Tell us
Hi, how are you? How are you, Mr. Bibbs? Thanks again for having me
Great.
back. I'm sorry. I've been invited a couple weeks, but
Ms. Talley is from Toledo, and she is part of the Ohio Unity Black Voter Empowerment Campaign. She is over the organizations that are part of the state of Ohio. So she's going to share some very important information with us tonight. Thank you, Ms. Talley, for joining.
can you all hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay, great. So thank you, first of all, Mr. Bibbs, for having me. Thank you, Candace, for continuing to reach out. I had hoped to be back with you all with more information, but things are, with less than 40 days, things are moving pretty quickly. But I did want to come back and share some information, and I apologize, I'm taking this call in the car because I have a bunch of canvassers in my office who just came back from canvassing, and they are loud and I could not hear. So just real quickly, we are always looking for canvassers there in Cleveland. This campaign is reimbursing or paying canvassers to come out and do a couple of hours worth of canvassing, at least a 4-hour shift. We have the ability to pay them for their time, $18 an hour. So first of all, if you know anyone who would like to canvass, Ms. Candace, if I can ask you, if you can get that if they can get that information to you and you can pass it on to Pam, that would be extremely helpful. With these last few days, we need to knock on as many doors as we possibly can. The other thing that we're really super excited about, two things. This Friday, our national organization, the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, is launching the Unity 2022 Get Out the Vote comedy tour. And the tour starts in Cleveland, Ohio, and is marking the beginning of a 30-day push of Get Out the Vote weekend organizing activities in 9 markets in key battleground states. And as you all know, Ohio, it didn't start out that way being a battleground state, but we know that as long as there are Black people living in Ohio, we are a battleground state. So in addition to Cleveland, Ohio, that is going to be launching, activities will also include activities happening in Toledo and in Columbus. And then as some of the other activities for this tour they're going to be activating in Detroit and Kalamazoo, Michigan, in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in Orlando, Florida, and Atlanta, Georgia. At every stop of this tour, it is the plan for the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and us as the state convener, the Ohio Coalition on Black Civic Participation, along with our Black Women's Roundtable, to get as much as we can in terms of maximizing voter contact in these Black communities here in Ohio, but also in Michigan, Florida, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. It's going to include this very unique thing that we put together called Power of the Ballot Evening of Comedy Night. And I'm happy to report that we have just secured who's going to come by and holler at us in Cleveland is national comedian and friend of the Black Women's Roundtable, Kim Coles, is going to be joining our comedy tour in Cleveland on Friday. We got limited capacity, but if you all can share the flyer that I believe you have, Ms. Jones, with the QR code on it, anyone that clicks on that code or scans that code and goes to our site called ready.vote and signs up with the button that says help get out the vote, that will secure your seat in the comedy show on Friday. In addition to Ms. Coles, we've got a lineup of Black women comedians and speaking programs who are going to share stories and comedy acts related to the power of our voices and the power of our votes. Another person I'm happy to report is our national leader, Melanie Campbell. She's the president and CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and convener of the Black Women's Roundtable. She's going to be in attendance. And again, one of the things that's happening on Friday, we're going to start out the day on Friday doing some door-to-door neighborhood canvassing in around Ward 7 during the day. So if you want to come out and help, meet us at 22034 Lakeshore Boulevard, and we can give you some turf to go knock and give you a script and go knock on the door during that time. So we're really excited about this Power of the Ballot happening in Cleveland, Ohio, launching this tour, a national tour in the battleground states. And we hope that your listening audience will participate once they see the flyer and can reserve their seat. There's going to be light refreshments that are free. We got some giveaways. We got some, things that are actually happening. And you, Mr. Bibbs, and certainly Candace Jones and the brother sitting next to you, Candace, you all, if y'all tell me y'all coming, we'll make sure you all have a seat in that arena on Friday. Next week, around the 13th, the Black Voters Matter. Some of you all have maybe seen that. I know the bus has been in Cleveland before during the 2020 election cycle. They're going to be rolling through Ohio with a bus tour where they're going to bring the big bus and they'll have their Black Voters Matter t-shirts and all the swag and all that stuff coming through Cleveland. We don't know what the venue is right now, but as soon as we know what that is, we'll get it out to you all. And if you all can just share that information, it'll be on the 12th that is actually coming through Cleveland, the first day of early voting. So we might do something around where the Board of Elections is. We're not just quite sure yet, but just be on the listen out for that information as well. They wrote us off in Ohio as not being relevant to this election. They've already determined that Ohio is a red state, not a purple state or a blue state. And we're here to say we as Black voters in this community, we are in play in every election. And that's the work that we're trying to do through the national coalition, the Ohio Black Voter Empowerment Campaign. And with that, I will stop because I know I've been running my mouth and talking. Thanks for having me. And if
Don't leave me now. I got a few questions for
I'm
you.
not going anywhere. I'm staying right here. Go
Okay.
ahead.
The people who are going to work, when will they start to work?
They have to get trained. And so as soon as I know Pam does training, she's doing another big training on actually on Friday. She's probably got some training. She did yesterday. I know she trained some people on yesterday for deployment on Friday. So if you get with her, you get trained, you can go to work as soon as the next day. We're guaranteeing they can work, individuals can work a maximum of 16 hours in a week, and $18 an hour, that adds up.
Very good. We have about 10 names now. We'll get to Miss Pam that I
Yes.
shared with Miss Candace Jones already. That takes
Okay.
care of that.
That'll
The
be
next
perfect.
question.
I have a question.
You said, let me finish it. I got a list here. You said what ward you're going to start working in?
We're gonna we've actually already been working in we've done a little bit of work in Ward 4, where I know Pam is working in Ward 7 right now.
Is that Ward 7 in Cleveland?
Yes, sir. We're talking about, since I'm talking on your show, we're talking about Cleveland in particular.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because I have some workers over there lined up in Ward 7, so they need to get trained.
Yes.
And we're going to get the names to you from who hosts the show. It's about
Okay.
8 of us. And the bus. Would you repeat what you said about the buses coming?
Yes, sir. So the Black Voters Matter, we're anchoring their program here in Ohio. They're partnered with the Ohio Unity Black Voter Empowerment Campaign, which is a campaign that all of this is falling under, all of this activity. They're going to be coming through Ohio the 12th through the 14th. First stop is Toledo, second stop is Cleveland on the 12th. And so we're trying to put together a venue for the bus to stop at and maybe do some canvassing. It could still be in Ward 7. And then I'm believing we'll have enough time that we can actually take voters to go early vote if they want to. And so we'll have that activity. We'll have more details on that probably by the first by the weekend.
Okay, the reason I asked about the bus, I'm from a city, the blackest city in the United States of America, called East Cleveland.
Yes, sir.
And it's been neglected. Nobody's
Yes, sir.
been there, and they vote percentage-wise Democratic more than any city in Ohio. We'll talk about it on Friday about the bus. If they can make 2 stops, they need the bus out there because they voted 6% August the 2nd, and the Calgary County voted 6% August 2nd. So we have to
Yes,
really
sir.
get that bus rolling if we're going to get the brothers and sisters out in the next 30 plus days. All right?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We will definitely, in our planning, we will definitely make sure that we can, the challenge with the bus, Mr. This pretty big bus, and I don't know what the streets are like in East Cleveland. And so we have to make sure
we
that
handle
the
big
route,
buses. We
y'all
handle
handle
big buses.
with
All big buses.
with
Yeah, right.
lights on them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will follow
Okay,
up with you
no-
all
no
because we
problem.
definitely want the people of East
Okay.
Cleveland to have the benefit of the bus. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Ms. Candace Jones has a couple questions.
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize for those that may not have a copy of the flyer to scan the QR code, they can go to ready.vote and that will bring them to the same location. They click on help get out the vote and just fill their information in. I just wanted to make sure that was explained. And
Thank you.
as Ms. Talley said, the last day to register to vote for the November election is October 11th. So you need to be a registered voter by October 11th at your current address. And early voting, as she mentioned, starts October the 12th. So I look forward to the Friday night event to get out and relax and in the midst of all the campaigning and canvassing, have an opportunity to relax and have fun. Even though
Thank you
canvassing
so
can be
much.
fun also.
It
Okay.
can, but we do.
Go
We
ahead.
need that. We need that comedy. So can I put you to Mr. Bibbs? Can we see you over at the Atlas? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give the location. The location for the comedy tour is going to be at the Atlas Cinema at 13116 Shaker Square there in Cleveland. The doors open at 6:30 and we will have the presentation will go until 9 p.m. And Miss Jones, you're right. After all this work that we're doing, trying to make sure we empower our community, we do need to take some time and relax and get into a night of ease. And this is what this is designed for. So I hope to see all three of you all there.
Yes.
We will all be there, the whole team. And Mr. James Jerome Bell, who was in Columbus with you, he
Yes,
has
sir.
something he wants to say. Go ahead on, Mr. James Jerome Bell.
Mhm.
I just want to say that you're doing an amazing job, and we really, really appreciate you here in Cleveland and Ohio also. And please do your best in all things.
Okay,
Thank
before we leave, we got to have a word from the Reverend. Reverend Ben Fair. He will be there with us on Friday.
We just
Okay.
want- Yeah.
Go
Once
ahead.
again, we just want to say thank you. We appreciate your service, and we want Ohioans to get out and vote because it matters.
Okay.
All
Absolutely.
right,
You
thank
all
you.
are
We'll
doing a
see you on
remarkable.
Friday. Good job, everybody.
Okay, I got all four of you all down. I got the whole People Get
Okay, wait a
Ready
minute.
podcast team.
Hold on. Dr. Glenn Jarvis.
Yes, sir.
Go over there next to Mr. Bell right quick.
Dr. Gwen Jarvis needs to be on the list as well.
Okay, I'm putting her on. Okay, I got all five of you all.
Okay, I'll make sure that you have the complete list. There's some that
Thank
are
you.
not in the studio today, but are on the phone or are not able to be at the podcast, but I'll let you know their names.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I get them to me quick because I want to make sure I reserve you all seat.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very kindly.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you. And I'll try to circle back. Maybe I can jump on again next Wednesday if we got new information, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Well, Ms. Penman has been doing, Stan Penman's been doing an awesome job reading the letter from Birmingham jail, but she has a good week this week. It's her anniversary, and they're going out of town to celebrate their wedding anniversary. And James Jerome Bell, would you please read your portion of the letter that we were reading this week?
Yes,
Martin
Mr.
Luther
Bibb.
King from the Birmingham jail. Thank you.
Yes, we are in the fourth installation of this series on Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail. This week, we will continue to cover hope for the future. We will pick up where we left off, and it reads, I had also hoped that the white moderate would reject the myth concerning time in relation to the struggle for freedom. I have just received a letter from a white brother in Texas. He writes, all Christians know that the colored people will receive equal rights eventually, but it is possible that you are too great a religious hurry. It has taken Christianity almost 2,000 years to accomplish what it has. The teaching of Christ takes time to come to earth. Such an attitude stems from a tragic misconception of time, from the strangely irrational notion that there is something in the very flow of time that will inevitably cure all ills. Actually, time itself is neutral. it can never be used either destructively or constructively. More and more, I feel that the people of ill will have used time much more effectively than have the people of goodwill. We will have to repent in this generation, not merely for the hateful words and actions of the bad people, but for the appalling silence of the good people. Human progress never rolls in on wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts of men willing to be co-workers with God. And without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the forces of social stagnation. We must use time creatively in the knowledge that the time is always right to do right. Now is the time to make real the promise of democracy and transform our pending national eulogy into a creative song of brotherhood. Now is the time to lift our national policy from the quicksand of racial injustice to the solid rock of human dignity. You speak of our activity in Birmingham as extreme. At first, I was rather disappointed that fellow clergymen would see my nonviolent efforts as those of an extremist. I began thinking about the fact that I stand in the middle of two opposing forces in the Negro community. One is a force of complacency made up in part of Negroes who, as a result of long years of oppression, are so drained of self-respect and a sense of somebodyness that they had adjusted to segregation, and in part of a few middle-class Negroes who, because of a degree of academic and economic security, and because in some ways they profit by segregation, have become insensitive to the problems of the masses. The other force is one of bitterness and hatred, and it comes perilously close to advocating violence. It is expressed in the various black nationalist groups that are springing up across the nation, the largest and best known being Elijah Muhammad's Muslim movement. Nourished by the Negroes' frustration over the continued existence of racial discrimination, this movement is made up of people who have lost faith in America, who have absolutely repudiated Christianity, and who have concluded that the white man is an incorrigible devil. I have tried to stand between these two forces, saying that we need emulate neither the do-nothingism of the complacent nor the hatred and despair of the black nationalists. For there is more excellent way of love and nonviolent protest. I am grateful to God that through the influence of the Negro Church, the way of nonviolence became an integral part of our struggle. If this philosophy had not emerged, by now many streets of the South would, I am convinced, be flowing with blood. And I am further convinced that our white brothers dismiss as rabble-rousers and outside instigators those of us who employ nonviolent direct action. And if they refuse to support our nonviolent efforts, millions of Negroes will, out of frustration and despair, seek solace and security in black nationalist ideologies, a development that will inevitably lead to a frightening racial nightmare. Oppressed people cannot remain oppressed forever. The yearning for freedom eventually manifests itself, and that is what is happening to the American Negro. Something within him has reminded him of his birthright of freedom, and something without reminding him that it cannot be gained. Consciously or unconsciously, he has been caught up by the zeitgeist and with his black brothers of Africa and his brown and yellow brothers of Asia, South America, and the Caribbean. The United States Negro is moving with a sense of great urgency toward the promised land of racial justice. Thank you.
Thank you, James Jerome Bell. You did an awesome job. In fact, let me say that one was so heavy. We coming back with that one again next week.
Yes.
So
That's
just
really
get ready.
good.
Okay, I'm gonna have to move the agenda a little more to get what we want in here. Dr. Jarvis and Wavon. Wavon, are you there? Ms. Wavon? All right. I'm gonna
I am
move-
here.
Okay, I want you and Dr. Jarvis to work on the new redlining piece. Talk about that, please.
Dr. Jarvis, go ahead.
Okay. We know that redlining has been taking place forever, for a very long time throughout the communities throughout the United States of America. But it just seems like in the past maybe 3 years or less, there has been what I call a new form, what actually is a new form of redlining, is what they're or gendercizing, whatever we want to call it, is how they are redeveloping the inner cities for I call them the clear people, for the white people, and to push us back out in the country. In the rural areas where we don't really have any rural areas anymore, but we have suburbs where they're moving us out, further out. And what they're doing in the intercity, when it comes to trying to rent a place, a house or an apartment, they are doubling and tripling and quadrupling the amount of the deposit that they want you to have, and also income. I know an example, someone who makes the Social Security check would pay for 2 months apartment for this one development, and how they're asking for 3 to 6 times a month and asking you to have a co-signer for an apartment to live in. And it's not like it's in paradise, as my pastor said, but it's just like they feel like if they do this, they will keep us from being in our own communities. These are in Black communities. But yet and still, they're not even filling these houses or these apartments. In the greater Cleveland area, there 80% of these properties are empty. So they're going to have to come down and change their method of trying to get them try to get these properties rented. You go further out east or further out west in many cities, not just here, but in many cities around the country, the rents are very inexpensive, but they got you way out in the country or the rural areas, as we would call it. And it's something that we need to be unlike what Jerome Bell just read in reading the letter of Dr. Martin Luther King. He said, we have become silenced and secure. We can't be silenced and secure. We have to make a move. We have to get out and vote. And then just like the quote from Martin Luther King too, about we can't be afraid, we can't be neither safe nor politic nor popular. We have to do what needs to be done, not only to protect our neighborhoods, but protect where we want to live, and not to live in rural communities, way away from jobs, we have food deserts, and all those sort of things that we would incur by not having the opportunity to live in the metropolitan areas or the cities as they should be.
Dr. Jarvis, thank you. Ms. Wyvon Carthon? Ms. Wyvon Carthon? Okay. We're going to move the agenda. We're running out of time for this program, and we'll continue you next week, Doc. You can continue to gather facts on that. And Ms. Candace Jones, would you come and tell us about what's happening with Reverend Cavanagh in that piece next week? And Al Sharpton coming to town, Steele coming to town, president of the Southern Christian Leadership out of Atlanta, Georgia, former state senator from Alabama, A lot be going on over here next Tuesday, Reverend Fair.
Yes, sir.
City Hall won't be the same after you and I down there next Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready, Miss Candace Jones?
Yes, I am.
Go right ahead and tell us about it.
So there is a economic disparity discussion luncheon. Civil rights icon Reverend E.T. Cavanis, who's president and CEO of the SCLC in Cleveland chapter, is elated to have Reverend Al Sharpton, legendary civil rights activist, president of National Action Network, to Cleveland, and Dr. Charles Steele, national president and CEO of the National SCLC headquarters in Atlanta. They will lead a rally outside of City Hall, 601 Lakeside Avenue in Cleveland on Tuesday, October 11th at 11 a.m., where Black contractors and community leaders will call on the mayor and city council to withhold tax dollars that have been earmarked for the construction of the Sherwin-Williams Company's new global headquarters. Immediately following the rally, there will be an economic disparity luncheon at the Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church to discuss the Cleveland community can continue the struggle to eliminate the economic inequality. So this is information that came from the Call-in Post. There was an article in the Call-in Post today related to this event that's going on next week. For more information or questions, you can contact the phone number is 216-406-6908 if you have any questions about the event.
Okay, are you aware of the luncheon that's following the rally?
Yes, the luncheon will
Tell
be.
us about that.
The luncheon will be immediately following the 11 a.m. Rally, the economic disparity rally on Tuesday, October the 11th, outside of City Hall. There will be a luncheon that will be held at Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church to discuss how the greater Cleveland community can continue the struggle to eliminate the economic inequality. So, that prefers the point of Cleveland being sanctioned as one of the poorest metropolitan cities in the country.
Thank you. And at that luncheon will be Reverend Al Sharpton of National Action Network, Reverend Charles Steele of the Southern Christian Leadership, and Reverend Ben Fair of People Get Ready podcast.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And all of us will be there for that lunch. So I'll be down on 601 Lakeside outside of City Hall. Want to know what the mayor and the council president, Blaine Griffith, going to do about Sherwin-Williams. So we might as well get this on.
And pray for a nice day that day.
Right.
No rain.
Right. Thank you very kindly. And Reverend Fair,
Yes, sir.
I want to, you brought us up, did you bring us up to date on the East Cleveland Police? Give me what you have on the East Cleveland Police, please.
All right. Well, the East Cleveland Police, just give you a little update on it, Mr. Bibbs. They have indicted several of East Cleveland policemen. The first one has been is felony 5, telecommunication fraud, and this gentleman is Kyle Woods, who have been indicted. Another one is assault, and this is the misdemeanor. Kyle Woods, Kyler Munson, Brian Stoll have been indicted. The next indictment is interfering with civil rights, and this is a misdemeanor. Kyle Woods, Kyler Munson, and Brian Stoll. And we also have dereliction of duty. Kyle Woods, Tyler Munson, and Brian Stoll. Felonious assault, felony 2, Kyle Woods and Brian Stoll. Obstruction of justice, a felony 3, Kyle Woods, Daniel Toomer, Tyler Munson, and Brian Stoll. All have been indicted. Also, we have an indictment, and this is tampering with evidence, a felony 3, Daniel Toomer, Tyler Munson, tampering with records, a felony 3, Daniel Toomer. And also we have, let's see, who else we have? Theft in office. We have theft in office, felony 5, and that's Daniel Toomer. Disturbing public service, felony 4, Daniel Toomer. Assault, Daniel Toomer and Brian Stoll. All these officers of East Cleveland have been indicted. Interfering with civil rights. Kyle Woods, Daniel Toomer, Tyler Munson, Brian Stoll have been indicted. And dereliction of duty, Kyle Woods, Daniel Toomer, Tyler Munson, and Brian Stoll all
right.
have been indicted.
We go. That report, put a pin in that. We'll finish that up next week. Do you have the total amount of police officers from East Cleveland that's been indicted?
Actually, we do, Mr. Bibbs. So far, the total amount is 9 officers.
9 officers?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Thank you. A very good report on that one. And you got about 3 other reports. We'll get them all next week. We're running out of time this week. We have 2 other things that's on our triangle of big events. And the last one is the Cuyahoga County prosecutor has threatened to sue the Cuyahoga County Executive and the Cuyahoga County Council if they build the jail on that toxic land. The steering committee voted do not build the land and recommended that to the council. The council will be voting on, I believe, the 18th of October. But we'll have that information for you next week when the actual vote, where the council who has the authority to build on that toxic or not build on it. But the recommendation from the steering committee, which the county prosecutor on the steering committee, some county administrative judges, and Brian Griffin representing Cleveland City Council, and the law director representing the mayor's office, but he had a substitute at the meeting, and the substitute abstained from voting yesterday about the toxic. But we'll get that for you next week.
All right.
That's a big, big deal there, because they spend a lot of money just for the land.
Mr. Bibb, as we wind down for our last minute of the podcast, I just wanted to make people aware of an event coming up that will be before our next podcast, which is the Ohio Senate candidates, J.D. Vance and Tim Ryan, agreed to a debate that will take place on October the 10th at 7 p.m. on Fox 8 channel. So I just want to make sure that people are aware of that, because that will be before our next podcast.
Thank you, Ms. Candace Jones, and everybody need to try to watch that. And one last, right before I close out, tomorrow night, the county executives who are going to be over this building of this year will be, and